Hello everyone, Dana White here. I am here on the scene of the Capital Region International Airport where there is a small plane crash. I'm going to wait a few minutes for more people to tune in, but I will flip the camera around so you guys can see what I'm seeing right now. They have us pretty far back, but if you look far in the distance, you can see some flashing lights, and that's where a small plane crashed here at the Capital Region International Airport. We got a shot on our camera. I can show you that so you can kind of see what it looks like closer up. But there is a small plane crash here at the Capital Region International Airport in Lansing. Now, what we know so far is that police were called out here around 9 a.m. when a plane crashed. It was coming from the west and crashed on the airport runway, and it was carrying 5 passengers at the time, and airport officials say that people did escape from the plane, but they don't know injuries at this time. And our photographer who was here earlier this morning did see someone being carried out on a stretcher, so we do know that extent as well. And then also all of the roads surrounding the airport are closed at this time. So if you do try to get in, you can only go through the main entrance. The main part of the airport is open, but in the back part here, it is closed. And police are on scene. Lansing Police, Lansing Fire, and Clinton County, in addition to airport security and staff, are all here just trying to make sure everything's okay. And the damage of the plane and the cause of the crash is still unknown at this time. So again, I'm here at the Capital Region International Airport where they are reporting a small plane crash on the runway, and there were 5 people in it at the time. Again, for those of you just tuning in, I'll show you a shot we got on our camera of the plane crash. They have us pretty far back, so you can't see it from where I'm standing, but this is a zoomed in shot of the plane here at the airport, and we are still working to learn more, but we will be out here all day. And for those who are just tuning in, there is a small plane crash here at the Capital Region International Airport, and police and safety officials are all on scene, and there were 5 people on the plane at the time, and we don't know injuries at this time, but our photographer who was here earlier this morning did see someone being carried out on a stretcher. Now, we are working to learn more, and we will of course bring that to you. We will be live here on 6 News at noon, and airport staff will also be holding a press conference soon, so we will of course bring that to you as soon as we learn more. So stay tuned.
This is 6 News at noon.
A small one-engine plane crashes in Lansing, leaving 3 people dead and 3 others in critical condition. It's our top story at noon. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for watching today. I'm Jorma Duran. Siobhan is on maternity leave. A pilot, co-pilot, and 4 passengers were aboard the small TBM 700 when it went down shortly after 9 a.m. just west of Capital Region International Airport. Joining us now live from near the crash scene is our very own Dana White. She's here for you now with details just released. Dana, what did you find out?
That's right, Jorma. We've just learned that 3 people are dead and 3 in critical condition after a small plane crash here at the Capital Region International Airport. Now, if you take a look at this map behind me, this is right where the crash happened. It was right outside of airport property. You can see this yellow line. That's where the cutoff is, and it happened right here just off of Airport Road. Now, if you take a look at our scene video from earlier, it's still very active, and even now, emergency vehicles are still out there. Lansing Police, Lansing Fire, and Clinton County are all on scene. Now, as we reported, there are 6 people total on the plane, the pilot, the co-pilot, and 4 passengers, and officials tell us that it was a very hard impact, and this investigation could take days. Now, the people in the plane do not appear to be family, according to officials, and here's how police found out what happened.
We were notified, the Airport Operations Center was notified that there was an ELT, so an alert from the aircraft. I'm not sure if that was pre-impact or post-impact, but we received a notice from the tower that the aircraft was sending them an emergency signal.
Now, as you can see in this video, the plane was smoking at the time that it hit the ground, and as we said, it was a very hard impact, and officials say that the plane was traveling here to Lansing from Indianapolis, and we do not have much information about the pilot or the passengers at this time, other than that they do not appear to be a family. Now, of course, we will be following this story, and we will have updates for you coming up tonight, both on 6 News at 5 and 6, so be sure to stay with us on this breaking story. Here for you live in Lansing, Dana White, 6 News. Back to you.
Live from WLNS TV, this is 6 News at 5.
Clinton County Central Dispatch to Dewey Township Fire, Bath Township Fire. You're being requested to be escalated to Delta for a plane crash.
3 people are dead and 3 others severely injured after a plane crash near the Capital Region International Airport. It's our top story at 5. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lauren Thompson. It happened just after 9 o'clock this morning. 6 News was first on the scene. The small TBM 700 plane went down with 6 people on board, the pilot, co-pilot, and 4 passengers. 6 News reporter Dana White is here for you now live from the airport. Dana, what's the latest tonight?
Lauren, we've just learned that one of the victims who was in critical condition is now stable, and police tell us that 3 people are dead, 2 in critical, and 1 is now in stable. Now, if you take a look behind me, you can see that Lansing police still have Airport Road blocked off. The crash happened a little ways down, and the airplane is still there as they're working to figure out just exactly what happened here today. Now, if you take a look at this viewer video, you can see that the plane was smoking as it hit the ground, and officials say it was a very hard impact. Now, it's not clear whether the people who died were the pilots, passengers, or both. The Federal Aviation Administration is investigating the crash, and they say it could take days before a cause is determined. We caught up with a man earlier who works nearby the airport, and he says his first instinct was to step in and help.
I saw smoke coming out of the engine compartment of the plane, and I immediately thought to try to grab my fire extinguisher. I couldn't get the seat to trip forward, and then I decided it was probably best to just leave out of the area so that the emergency vehicles would be able to access it easier.
Our commercial service will carry on throughout the day. There may be interruptions as it relates to the recovery of the aircraft from the west side of the airport, but at this time, airport service, it will be uninterrupted.
Now, as we reported earlier, officials are still working to figure out the cause of this crash, and we will have much more for you coming up tonight on 6 News at 6. Here for you live in Lansing, Dana White, 6 News. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Dana. Well, 6 News did some digging and found out that the flight left from Indianapolis at 8 o'clock this morning. According to the website FlightAware, the last flight from this plane was back on September 27th. We also learned the plane is owned by a company from Greenwood, Indiana, that's just south of Indianapolis, and it was flying at its capacity of 6 people. We have a lot more information for you on our website, including the full press conference today and audio of 911 dispatchers as they responded to the scene. And of course, we'll have much more on this crash for you in just a bit on 6 News at 6.
This is 6 News at 6.
3 people are dead tonight and 3 others in the hospital after a small plane crashed before landing. It's our top story at 6. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lauren Thompson.
And I'm Sherry Jones. It happened just after 9 o'clock this morning near the Capital Region International Airport. 6 News was first on the scene and broke the story online at WLNS.com. Officials say 6 people were in the plane at the time of the crash.
6 News reporter Dana White is here for you now live from the airport. Dana, what's the latest tonight?
Lauren and Sherry, airport officials say a crash like this one hasn't happened in years. And while the plane was still mostly intact, it hit the ground hard.
Clinton County Central Dispatch to Dewey Township Fire, Bath Township Fire. You're being requested to be escalated to Delta for a plane crash.
Smoke filled the air as a small plane crashed this morning at the Capital Region International Airport.
We have 3 confirmed deaths on board. 3 others have been transported in critical condition.
Officials say the plane was traveling to Lansing from Indianapolis. There were 2 pilots on board and 4 passengers.
The identification of those on board, those deceased, is still in the process right now, and we're not going to release any names until next of kin has been notified.
I was just worried about the people inside the plane.
Bob Hull works near the airport and saw the plane right after it hit the ground.
I saw smoke coming out of the engine compartment of the plane, and I immediately thought to try to grab my fire extinguisher. I couldn't get the seat to trip forward, and then I decided it was probably best to just leave out of the area so that the emergency vehicles would be able to access it easier.
He says right now he just hopes the families of those involved can heal from this tragedy.
I just pray for their families and hope everything, goes smooth for them.
The crash did happen right off of airport property in Watertown Township, and officials are still investigating the exact cause of this crash. So be sure to stay with 6 News. We'll be following this developing story and bring you updates as soon as we learn more. Here for you live in Lansing, Dana White, 6 News. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Dana. Well, 6 News has learned that flight left from South Greenwood Airport near Indianapolis around 8 o'clock this morning. The 6-seater plane is owned by a company there. Tonight, the FAA and NTSB are investigating. We have more information on our website for you, including the full press conference held today and audio of 911 dispatchers. It's all at WLNS.com.
From WLNS TV, this is 6 News at 6.
Her husband lost his life in yesterday's plane crash, and tonight she talks about the man he was and the outpouring of love and support she's getting. It is our top story tonight at 6. Thank you for joining us. I'm Sherry Jones.
And I'm Lauren Thompson. The investigation continues tonight after the plane crashed just after 9 o'clock yesterday morning, about 150 yards from Capital Region International Airport.
6 News reporter Dana White is here for you now in studio with more about the people who were on board and a wife who was devastated by this tragedy.
Yeah, Sherry and Lauren, John Lowe was one of the 6 people who was in the plane at the time of the crash, and one of the 3 people who died. And tonight, his wife says she can't even describe how she's feeling.
John, first of all, is a big guy physically. He's very tall, 6'2", very athletic, crossfitted 5 times a week.
Lori Lowe is the wife of John Lowe. Her husband was traveling to Lansing yesterday from Indianapolis when her worst nightmare came true.
I had called the NTSB, I called the sheriff's department, I called the hospital. I was not getting any phone calls back.
She later found out her husband died in the crash.
My son he's a strong kid, but I think that emotionally, this is going to be really tough. John was his hero.
Lori says the support from John's friends means the world to her.
And they're going to help me. Help me with this through the future, as well as his wonderful family.
And for now, she plans to honor her husband and continue sharing the good person that he was.
I don't know if I have words to describe the feeling I have right now about the outpouring of love that I receive from the Center Grove community right now. It's been incredibly amazing and so selfless. I am truly grateful.
Lori also mentioned that John has a huge railroad bell from his father, and their community plans to honor him at a football game on Monday by ringing it for the entire stadium to hear. Lauren and Sherry.
This is 6 News at 6.
New at 6, word tonight that another person has died following last week's plane crash. And it is our top story tonight at 6. Thank you for joining us. I'm Sherry Jones.
And I'm Lauren Thompson. That deadly crash happened last Thursday when a small plane went down near the Capital Region International Airport.
Ashley Graham is here for you now in our newsroom. Ashley, tell us what we know tonight.
Sherry and Lauren, today we learned that Zechariah Bennett died sometime over the weekend at Sparrow Hospital, and this makes him the 4th person to die after the tragic plane crash last Thursday. He was 27 years old and the youngest person on the plane. Bennett was from Plainfield, Indiana, and that's just outside Indianapolis. He was one of 6 people on the plane that morning, and officials haven't said whether he was the pilot or the co-pilot or one of the 4 passengers on the plane that day. The crash happened just outside of Capital Region International Airport, and they were heading to Lansing for a project with the Board of Water and Light. Here are some of the names of the 6 victims. Of the 6 people on board, 3 of them were pronounced dead the day of the crash, and 3 more were taken to Sparrow Hospital in critical condition. Clinton County officials tell us the 2 remaining victims are still in the hospital. Now, the plane was finally removed over the weekend, and tonight the crash is still under investigation by the FAA. They have not identified a cause for the crash or confirmed who was flying the plane, and we will continue to bring you updates as we learn more. Lauren, Sherry.